Hey people, throw away account because this is still kinda raw and unreal. I, 35M, have been married to my wife, let's call her Lena, 32F, for 6 years. When we first met, it was like something out of a rom-com. She was fiery, magnetic, full of energy. The kind of woman who walked into a room and everyone noticed. I fell hard and fast. We had chemistry, passion, travel, expensive dinners, the whole honeymoon fantasy, even after we got married. Back then, my small tech consulting business was booming. Money was never an issue. We lived in a gorgeous townhouse. I drove a Tesla. Lena had her designer bags and spa days. She thrived in that lifestyle. I won't lie, I liked spoiling her. It made me feel like I was doing something right. But things shifted about a year ago. My biggest client pulled out unexpectedly, and a few bad investments left the business bleeding cash. I was scrambling to pivot, but the money dried up faster than I could fix the hole. I cut my salary, sold the Tesla, and started dipping into savings. Lena did not take it well. At first, it was small stuff, snide comments about my frugal phase, complaints that her friends' husbands were still buying them Cartier, subtle jabs about how I used to be impressive. Then it escalated. Fewer kisses. Cold silences. Her tone got sharper, bitchier. Like everything I did annoyed her. God forbid I cooked dinner. It was too basic. Buy her a gift? This looks cheap. Sex? Basically vanished. I told myself it was just stress. That she'd come around once I stabilized things. But I was wrong. Very, very wrong. It started with a handbag. A stupid, overpriced handbag. I noticed it one Saturday when she came home late, said she was grabbing drinks with a friend. She dropped it on the kitchen counter like it was nothing, but I'd never seen it before. It was a Hermes Birkin, and not a knockoff. I'm talking the real deal. That bag costs more than my car. I asked, trying to sound casual, "Where'd you get that?" She didn't even look up. "Oh, a friend gave it to me. She's cleaning out her closet." Now, I may have been stupidly in love, but I wasn't that stupid. No one just gives away a $20,000 handbag, especially not Lena's friends, who treat their designer stuff like sacred relics. That was the moment my gut twisted. Something wasn't right. And once I started noticing that, I noticed everything. The random text she'd suddenly step out to answer. The fact that she now kept her phone on silent and face down. Her sudden obsession with her appearance before yoga class. And weirdest of all, money started appearing in our shared account again. Not a lot, but enough that I knew it wasn't from me. So I did the thing no husband wants to do. I checked her phone. One night she was passed out after a wine and bath session. I snuck in, unlocked it with Face ID, and boom, there it was. Messages, DMs, photos, and the name Julian popping up over and over again. I clicked. Julian was some slick, older investor type. Probably early 50s, based in Miami, from what I could piece together. They were flirting, sexting, planning getaways. He bought her the handbag. He was bankrolling her little ego while I was eating ramen and calculating payroll. And the worst part? She was laughing about me in the texts. Saying things like, "He's broke now, but still trying to act like a big man." And, "I can't believe I ever thought he was enough." I sat there in the dark, phone in hand, feeling like someone had driven a steel spike through my chest. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there next to her, this woman I thought I knew, while she snored softly, totally unaware I'd seen everything. I kept thinking back to all the times she'd kissed me, looked me in the eye, called me baby, all while texting some tan prick named Julian behind my back. By morning, I couldn't fake it anymore. She was sipping her almond milk latte on the balcony when I walked out, phone in hand. I didn't even try to play it cool. Who the hell is Julian? She didn't flinch, didn't gasp, didn't cry. She just looked at me with this bored expression, like I just asked what time her nail appointment was. "Oh," she said, like she'd forgotten something minor. "So you saw that. That. As if her screwing around with a sugar daddy while I was drowning in debt was just a minor thing. I asked, "How long has this been going on?" She shrugged. "A few months. Maybe more." "Does it matter? Does it matter?" I repeated. "You're married to me." "Yeah, and you're broke," she snapped, standing up. "You used to be a man, you know? You had a business, ambition, style. Now you just mope around in sweatpants and stress about bills like some washed-up loser." I stared at her, stunned. The woman I married, the one who used to bring me lunch at the office, who held my hand through our first miscarriage, who once said I made her feel like the queen of the world, she was gone. She packed a bag that afternoon. No tears, no begging for forgiveness. Just a quick, I'm going to Julian's place for a while, as if she were going to a spa retreat. Before she left, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "You should have made more money. Maybe then I wouldn't have had to find someone who could." That was the moment the love officially died. After she walked out, I sat in the kitchen for what felt like hours, just staring at the wall. The silence in the house was unbearable. It was like the echo of everything I'd built. My business, my marriage, my future was just collapsing all at once. At first, I was furious. Not even at Julian. Hell, if he hadn't been him, it would have been someone else. I was angry at her. Angry that the woman I loved could be so cold, so transactional. That our vows meant nothing the moment my account balance dropped. But then the anger faded, and something worse settled in. I felt worthless. I started questioning everything. Had I always been blind? Was she ever really in love with me, or just the lifestyle I gave her? Was any of it real? The next few weeks were a blur of late nights, old whiskey, and pretending to be fine whenever someone asked. I didn't tell anyone what happened, not even my parents. I was too embarrassed, too humiliated. The man who used to fly business class and close six-figure deals was now sitting alone on a lumpy couch, watching his life fall apart. And here's the kicker. As painful as it was, it also forced me to sit with the truth. I had built my entire identity around success, the suits, the car, the woman, the penthouse. And when the money vanished, so did all of it, including her. But in the middle of that wreckage, I remembered something. This was a test. And not just any test, it was my test. One I didn't even realize I had set in motion. Because, and here's the twist, I wasn't broke. Not really. So yeah, I wasn't broke. The business crash was real enough on paper, a restructuring move I made to dissolve a few liabilities, distance myself from toxic partnerships, and quietly rebrand under a different shell company. It was strategic, calculated, and entirely confidential. I never told anyone, not even her, because I wanted to see something. For years, I had this nagging feeling deep down. Like, would she still love me if I wasn't flying her to Santorini every summer or buying her the latest designer bags? Would she still kiss me the same if we were eating ramen instead of filet mignon? Turns out, I got my answer. And while it gutted me, it also freed me. Once I picked myself up, I started putting the real pieces back in motion. I moved into a smaller, quieter house, something off the radar. I doubled down on the new company, and within months, revenue started flowing. Quiet success, the best kind. But something else unexpected happened too. While attending a charity gala for one of the foundations I anonymously fund, I met her, Elena. She wasn't flashy. Didn't ask what car I drove. We talked about books, travel, life, real things. The contrast was so stark it almost knocked the wind out of me. For the first time in years, I wasn't performing. I was just me. And she liked me anyway. No dollar signs. No expectations. Just connection. And just like that, I realized I didn't need revenge or validation from my ex. I had something better, clarity. And something rare, a second chance to build it all again, this time the right way. Just when I thought everything had settled, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, life threw me another curveball. One afternoon, I get a call from a mutual friend I hadn't spoken to in months. He's hesitant at first, but then drops a bomb. "You should know, your ex and Victor? They didn't last. She tried to pull the same manipulative games on him, and he dropped her cold. He even took back the car and the condo. She's couch surfing now." I didn't even know how to react. Was I supposed to laugh? Feel vindicated? Feel sorry for her? Instead, I felt nothing. And that surprised me more than anything. The woman who once took up all my mental real estate, who I obsessed over, who I lost sleep over, was now just a name in someone else's story. Someone else's problem. And hearing about her downfall? It didn't spark joy. It sparked peace. But the twist didn't stop there. A few weeks later, she showed up. Outside my office. Disheveled. Drenched from the rain. Smudged mascara and a look in her eyes that I hadn't seen before. Desperation. She asked if we could talk. I should have walked away. But part of me, the part that still remembered what it was like to love her, said yes. She went on about how she made a mistake. How she was confused. How I had changed. How Victor only wanted her for the surface and didn't care about who she was deep down. And then she asked me something insane. "Can we just try again? Wipe the slate clean." I didn't yell. Didn't curse. Didn't rub anything in her face. I just looked at her and said, "The slate wasn't the problem. You were." Then I walked away. And I swear, it felt like walking out of a prison I didn't know I'd locked myself inside for years. After that final conversation with her, something inside me shifted permanently. It was like cutting the last thread that had been tying me to my old life, the one filled with doubt, betrayal, and emotional chaos. I poured myself into rebuilding. Not just my finances, though. Ironically, those came roaring back faster than expected, but myself, my mindset, my self-respect, my peace. Here's something I hadn't told her, or anyone really. During the roughest part of my business collapse, I had started a secondary project. Something I didn't talk about because, frankly, I didn't think it would go anywhere. It was an app I'd been developing on the side, a platform for freelancers to connect and collaborate more easily. It had quietly gained traction. While she was out wining and dining with Victor, I was grinding in silence. 2 months after she asked to get back together, I sold that app. For $2.8 million. Yeah, from broke to a millionaire again. But this time, with a new sense of purpose. No flashy lifestyle. No need to impress. Just quiet, satisfying success. And you know what? With that new chapter came someone new. A woman I met completely by accident. She was the sister of a friend, helping him at a charity event I was attending. Nothing fancy. Just good conversation, kindness, and the kind of sincerity I'd forgotten existed in people. She didn't care about my money. She cared about my mind, the way I thought, the way I carried pain and still tried to be better. We talked for weeks, dated for months, and eventually, I knew this was what real love felt like. Not obsession, not chaos, not constant second-guessing, just peace. Now, I never really set out to get revenge. When everything went down with my ex and Victor the investor, my first instinct was just survival, healing, moving forward. But life has a weird sense of humor. You remember how I said I sold that freelancer app for $2.8 million? Well, the company that bought it, turns out they were a direct competitor to Victor's firm. Small world, right? But it gets better. The acquisition was big news in certain business circles. I didn't make a splash personally, but my name got out there. A couple of months after the deal closed, I got a LinkedIn message from him. Victor. It was short, polite. He congratulated me and said, "Looks like we underestimated you." That's when I realized he had no idea I was the founder until after the deal closed. The guy who wasn't ambitious enough for his wife had just outmaneuvered him in the market he ruled. And the cherry on top? My ex-wife tried to get back in touch. Again, she sent a long, rambling message about how we had something real once, and that she missed the way I made her feel safe. I didn't even respond. Just archived it and went back to the beach house I had rented with my new girlfriend, now my fiancée. Because, yeah, I proposed. No flashy ring. No over-the-top display. Just a quiet moment under the stars, asking someone who chose me when I had nothing, to build a life together with everything I now had. Revenge? Maybe. But honestly, the best revenge was never proving her wrong. It was proving myself right. It's funny how life goes silent after the storm. No more shouting. No more icy glares across the dinner table. No more pretending. After everything, the lies, the betrayal, the humiliating confrontation, and the sudden twist of fate, I found something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. I used to think love had to be dramatic, chaotic, hard. Like it only counted if you fought for it every single day. But with my new fiancée, let's call her Emma, it was different. Emma wasn't flashy. She didn't care about money, status, or the car I drove. We met at a local charity event. She was volunteering, I was sponsoring anonymously. We talked about books, travel, and what makes people tick. For once, I felt heard. Not just tolerated or managed seen. One day, I told her everything. About my ex, about Victor, about how close I came to giving up. I expected her to pull away, to judge me for the mess I'd been. Instead, she said, "Pain doesn't ruin you. It reveals who's worth carrying forward." Goddamn. I never thought I'd end up here. Engaged again, waking up happy, calm. I don't need to look over my shoulder. I don't need to prove anything anymore. And here's the kicker. I'm grateful for the betrayal now. It showed me who I never want to be, and who I'm truly capable of becoming. So here we are. If you've read this far, maybe you're going through something similar. Maybe your world just exploded. Maybe you found messages, receipts, whispers of betrayal. Maybe you're sitting in your car outside your own house wondering if your partner is cheating inside. I've been there. And if you are, here's what I wish someone had told me. You're not crazy. That gut feeling? The one you keep trying to explain away? Trust it. Our instincts are ancient for a reason. You're not weak for loving the wrong person. You're human. Sometimes we choose people who aren't ready or who only love us for a version of ourselves that benefits them. That's not your fault. Money reveals character, not just in them, but in you, too. When I lost everything, she jumped ship. And when I found peace, I realized I never needed her approval to begin with. Revenge won't fix your heart, but success will. I could have buried myself in bitterness. Instead, I focused on rebuilding. Quietly, calmly. My success now isn't just financial, it's emotional. I know who I am. That's priceless. There is love after betrayal. It might not come fast or loud or wrapped in fireworks, but it comes if you stay open.